In this video, we are going to download and install Python 3 and Visual Studio Code. So the first thing that I'm going to do is open Firefox. However, you're welcome to open your favorite web browser, whether it be Chrome or Microsoft Edge or some other web browser. So I'm just going to go to google.com and search for Python, and it should be the first link that's returned. Okay, from here we can go to downloads, and you will need to select your specific platform. I'm installing this for a Windows system, so I'm going to download the Windows version. And as of the making of this video, Python 3.7.4 is the latest version. When you set up your development environment, it might be a different version, but that's fine. Just get the latest version of Python. So let's download this. And once it's downloaded, we can install it. Alright, so let me minimize this so we see it better. So this is the installation dialog for Python. Before you click install now, please click the checkbox here at the bottom, add Python 3.7 to path. And the reason that we want to do this is so that we can run our Python programs regardless what folder we currently reside in. Otherwise, you would have to copy all of your programs to the Python installation folder and run them from there. This is going to make life much easier for us. So please be sure to check add Python 3.7 to path. And path is the environment variable path that allows us to run applications regardless of what folder or directory we currently are located in, or the file is currently located in. So now we can install now. Alright, Windows is asking to make sure that we are okay with this program installing, so let's click yes. And now the installation actually goes through the installation process. We'll give it just a few minutes. Alright, and we can now close. And to make sure that everything is working properly, I'm going to go to the start menu and type in cmd and run the command prompt. And if we have installed Python correctly, specifically with the path environment variable, we should be able to type in Python. Good. Now, when you type in Python and you see some information about the Python installation and these 3 angle brackets pointing to the right, that's the Python prompt. So now we can do something like print, something very simple, hello, oops, can't forget my hello world. And when we hit enter, it returns hello world, and we are set up properly. We can now type exit, beginning and ending parentheses, to close the Python interpreter. Alright, so Python is installed correctly. So I can close the command prompt. The next thing that I want to do is install Visual Studio Code. So let's go here, back to Google, and let's search for Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is an coding editor by Microsoft that is fairly similar to the full version of Visual Studios, but just without a couple of bells and whistles. Okay, so from here, again, you might need to select your specific platform. It's available for Mac, Linux, and Windows, and potentially other operating systems as well. Same as with Python. Python is also cross-platform. So let's download the Windows version here. And once it's downloaded, let's install. Alright, let's agree to the licensing agreement. And this is the default location for the installation, which is fine. Adding it to the start menu is fine. Let's see, that's fine. I don't think I actually included anything else here when I installed mine. And just continue clicking next until we get to the installation button. Alright, so Visual Studio Code is installing. Alright, so once we get to the end of the installation, we can launch Visual Studio Code here, and let's do that. Sure. I prefer Firefox. Alright, so don't really interested in the documentation at this point. I'm going to maximize the window here, and you'll notice down here at the bottom you can opt out of data collection by Microsoft. You're more than welcome to do that. Alright, so before we go any further, let's download the Python extension for Visual Studio Code so that we get some linting and highlighting and design time error checking. There's a couple of ways to install extensions, but if we go to View, let's see, Extensions, it will take us over here, and wouldn't you know it, without even having to search, Python, this Python extension is the first one. You're also welcome to search for Python, and it should be the same one. I'm pretty sure the first one that I installed is simply the one that's just titled Python. There are many different ones, but we'll just worry about this first one because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this one is from Microsoft. And you'll notice here that the extension is installing, and it looks like it is installed. Good. So I'm going to go back over here and towards the top left of the window on the left sidebar here and click Explore. I can close the extension window, and I'm just going to go to File, New File, to make sure that everything is okay. And let's do another print hello world. Now, you'll notice that my file is just called Untitled1, and I'm not really getting any linting or highlighting. So let's go to File, Save As. By default, it will save to your Documents folder. I like to save to the desktop just because it's easy to find it. On the Save As type, by default, plain text is selected, but I want to change this to Python. I'm just going to call this Hello World, all one word, and click Save. There we go. And now you'll notice that it's highlighted and linted properly. Oh, interesting. Down here, apparently, my linter is not quite installed. So let's click Install to install the PyLint add-in. So let's do that now. It's going to open the terminal. Give it just a second to install for us. All right. Another thing you can do is down here in the bottom right, you can make sure that all the files that you create are Python by going down here and selecting the Python language. And notice there are tons of different languages that are supported here. Where is Python? There we go. Alright, the script is installed. Looks like everything is good. So now, let's run this program inside of Visual Studio Code by going down here to the Debug button. And it kind of looks like a bug with an X on it here on the left. Alright. And let me remember how to do this. So if we click Start Debugging and Python file, we should notice down here, give it a second to run. There we go. There's our hello world. Alright, so we want, please open folder. Okay, please open a folder first. Alright, let me open a folder. I'm just going to open the desktop. Alright, let's go back to debug. Did it open a new window? It did not. Alright, let's go to the Hello World program. Okay, so what I did here, let me go back over here. I went to debug after I opened a folder. And that's just going to be like your working folder where all your files will be saved to by default. So debug, click the configuration, and get this to launch. And then it changed my my debug from having to select individual files every single time to launching the current Python file. So it should now, when I open desktop, my desktop folder and my Hello World program, when I go to debug, it will have the Python current file selected. So if I have like multiple Python files open, it will just run whichever one I currently have selected. Alright, so now instead of having to select Python every single time I want to run something, it will just run the currently selected file automatically for me, and it takes a step away from the process. Alright, the Hello World program runs successfully, and we now have a Python development environment installed, ready to be used for future programs. As always, if you have any questions about this video, feel free to shoot me an email. And with that, this brings this particular video to an end. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day.